Father, you know all about us, our joys, our strengths, our weaknesses, and our spiritual journeys with you. Please speak through my words now and help us to hear the things you would like us to hear. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, the other day I started to look at this gospel reading. I wasn't sure why I did it now, but I started to search on my laptop under the title of Good News Inspirations to help maybe enlighten my spirits. And as I did this, I happened to come across a heading entitled Community Initiatives and discovered a campaign that was being run this month. And it's by this gentleman. Got a chappie up there? Who's this? It's a well-known chappie. He's John Bishop. He's a comedian, a stand-up comedian, is a presenter, an actor, and former semi-pro footballer. And he's renowned for a lot of charity work that he's done. And he's got a lot of honours and rewards. This really caught my eye, so I started to look further. And it was a very simple initiative campaign for people to encourage one another to just say hello and make new connections with neighbours. And John's thoughts behind this are to help build stronger communities across the UK. And he's asking people to simply have name badges which say hello. And as I read on, I realised that this initiative was all about supporting our local communities and creating better connections with them. And the simple idea is just to say hello to those around us, and is a positive step we can all take to start good old-fashioned conversations. I know when I was walking my daughter's dog, quite a long time ago, many years ago, when they were still small, and I was able to meet with people who had the same interests as me. And people would always want to pass the time of day talking about the habits of their dogs and how lovely their children are and any problems they had. So mind you, I was a bit mindful about who I was talking to, but then the dogs always seemed to be quite friendly with each other. As we heard this gospel reading this morning, I started to think this little initiative seems to bring out the very real message of Mark. It's a very important gospel reading, even though we might not think so. We might easily get the impression that it's all about the apostles and not so relevant for us today. Mark reminds us that Christ has no tongue but ours to speak words of sympathy, of comfort, of encouragement to those weighed down by all sorts of everyday experiences, sorrow, pain, and failures. That Christ has no ears but ours to listen to those who are lonely and needing help. And that Christ has no hands but ours to which to raise up people who have fallen, and no feet but ours to seek out those who are needing Christ's love and forgiveness and care. We are reminded that Jesus involves the apostles in his work as he sent them out in twos into all the surrounding villages. In that way, he shared his divine message with them. He gave them his own authority and power. He knew very well that they would make mistakes. And this is not surprising, considering they were very ordinary people, most of whom were fishermen. If we look at today's world, many people in authority have a fear of involving people in their work, especially so-called ordinary people. Hence, individuals can be left with a feeling of worthlessness a feeling that they have nothing to contribute. They aren't required. Yet it's good for people to be involved, not only in a scheme to help other people, but more especially in a scheme to help themselves. It makes them responsible. It helps them to grow. It builds up a caring community spirit. Of course, on the other hand, there are some people who just don't want to get involved, and it's too demanding for them, or they don't care what happens, or more interesting, in other activities of life. It's far easier to leave it to the experts, the professionals, and so we see that this practice of leaving it to the professionals is all too common. All healing is left to doctors and nurses, as there were no wounds of the mind and hearts that ordinary people could help to heal. I know when I was seriously ill and the doctors diagnosed putting me on strong tablets without giving me help to understand how I might feel and how it would affect my life. And I was very upset. There was no sympathy or pastoral care support, no belief on who I could speak to about this. And doctors and consultants' time was limited, and they had no time to share a conversation on this with me. All teaching, even that of the hands-on faith with small children, is often left entirely to the hands of the teachers, as if parents were not first and most important teachers and evangelizers of their own children and have jurisdiction over the direction and support they give them. All the work of the poor and the disadvantaged is left to the burden of the government and charities, as if the rest of us are blind and helpless. And this suits some people, as it frees them from any feeling of responsibility. They don't have to do anything. They can leave it to someone else, perhaps the social worker, the vicar, or the nurse. They shut themselves away and go by, immersed in their own concerns. Of course, we need experts for specialist jobs, but the non-specialists too have a lot to contribute and often have a warmer, loving, and caring heart. So as I've mentioned previously, the sick, the lonely, the unloved stand not so much in need of medicine or companionship, someone who will listen to them and come alongside them. The young need someone who will show them an interest in them, be involved with them. And this is exactly the work we can all do. We can work together in our churches to make this happen. Now, I'm aware that we are doing some of this in this church today, and it doesn't call for any experts, does it? Only a caring, loving heart. In no sense could the apostles be called experts, yet Christ did not hesitate to involve them in his work. He sent them out on a journey to love, to care and make disciples, making friendships and simply helping where the need arose. Telling people about Christ's wonderful love is so very important. When you've seen the happiness on the face of a gracious, thankful person, there is no other vacation or occupation you would rather do to acknowledge Christ's existence today. Caring all sorts starts with a conversation and an action. Finding out more about the person and how they are and discover their needs. We are all ambassadors of Christ. We have his tongue, his ears, his hands, and his feet. So why not use our giftings and simply wear a badge or just say, hello, in line with John's communion initiative. You never know where this might lead to you and how welcome this could be for some people. As Mother Teresa says, we can do no great things, only the little things with great love. You can do what I can't do, and I can do what you can't do. Together we can do something beautiful for God. Amen.